Hi, you're listening to Scribble Talk, a podcast for bid and proposal professionals. My name is Bhaskar Sundram, and with my co-host Ashley Case, we'll be sitting down with the industry veterans to share their stories, discuss their career, and learn how to make an impact in the industry. Today's guest is Jenny Roemer. Jenny is Senior Proposal Manager based in Minnesota and has worked in fleet management for over 30 years. For the last 9 years, as a passionate proposal professional working on the US, Canadian, and global bids, annual client assessments, and managing the content database and the sales enablement platform. Before this, she worked as a digital analyst and client success manager. She has developed strong project management and client service skills in these positions. Jenny also served on the board of Greater Midwest chapter of the APMP, where she's the membership chair and helped to grow the membership. There's a lot more to talk about, Jenny. Welcome to Scribble Talk, Jenny. Great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, Jenny. Jenny, let's go back to the very beginning. Where were you born? And let's talk about your early life in there.
Yes, I was born in a small town on the southern part of the Twin Cities in Minnesota, in Prior Lake.
Like Twin Cities. Talk us through what these Twin Cities are and talk us about your early schools.
Yes, the Twin Cities is Minneapolis and St. Paul. Our capital is St. Paul, but probably more people have heard about Minneapolis. So they were called the Twin Cities. There's a river that runs through them that is breaks the two cities apart. But yeah, that is the Twin Cities, is what we're known for. High school, I went to Prior Lake High School. And then after that, I went to a small community college near me for accounting, of all things.
Minnesota, I heard, is a beautiful place. Jenny, most probably in the next 6 weeks, I'll be there with you and the team. Talk us through what's special in Minnesota.
What is special about Minnesota? Well, we are the land of 10,000 lakes. We have a lot of lakes and outdoor hiking. And it's funny because Minnesota has a lot of different areas. If you go to the North Shore, where like Duluth is, Grand Marais, we have what's called the Boundary Waters. That's north of Grand Marais, and it borders Canada. And in that area, you cannot have any motorized boats. So it's a lot of canoe trips. You can do day trips, you can do week trips where you canoe and you portage your items to different spots throughout the Boundary Waters. It's a really beautiful area. If you love hiking and canoeing, I would strongly suggest visiting that part of the state.
Nice, nice. Yes. So after the community college, did you had any early work experiences? What sort of jobs did you had early on before you started your career?
Yes, my first job was working at a bank, being what they called at the time a bookkeeper. So if people had questions about their bank accounts and such, I would help them, through whatever questions that they had. I was kind of a receptionist. And then I was a loan clerk and a teller. So those were my first jobs, working at banks and going into kind of the finance world.
Got it. How was it working in the finance world before the computers and the digital that you're talking about?
Yeah, it was a lot different than it is today, because we only had like one computer that we kind of all did things on, and we actually had like a machine that if you were in bookkeeping, you would actually look at each check individually, and you would type in the amount of that check. It would go through, and so all your transactions would have to balance. So you'd have your checks, and then you'd have your deposit slips, so everything had to balance. So yeah, kind of a different world than it is today, where you can just snap a picture of your check and now it's in your account. So very different world than it was back then.
So early years in the banking, what brought you into digital analyst, digital strategy?
Um, so once I got into fleet leasing, I worked in a lot of different areas within that one company. Um, and it was nice to be able to move around in that company and get a lot of different experiences, whether it was working with just internally, working with customers, but then being in the digital analyst, that was a really fun role to do because it was more of being creative. We had items where we would do a website that was just for a certain customer so that they could have their drivers go into this and have only their specific information in. So it was really fun to do something totally different from the finance part of the world and bring life to each customer's experience within their own world.
So again, moving from banking to a different kind of skill set altogether, how did you adapt yourself to that new era?
It was actually very easy because when I moved out of the banking world, then I moved into fleet leasing, which was also considered the finance world because we were doing leasings of company cars
Mm,
or businesses. So I actually worked, my first job there was working in personal property tax,
mm,
where on an annual basis, different states have property tax that needs to be paid. So working through all of the different county assessors and making sure that our rolls were correct for the units that were in that area, that jurisdiction, and making sure that the timings were right, like it didn't move from one jurisdiction to another, so we'd have to pay partial jurisdictions. So it still had some finance with it.
mm.
So it was a very easy step.
Got it. Fleet leasing. Again, you know what? Today it's very, again, yeah, owning the car or renting a car. How was it early years, fleet management, and how did you find things are changing today?
So fleet management, we are working business to business.
Mm,
Um, I just there was the reason I went there is the bank that I was working at was being bought out by another bank, so just looking for a different opportunity. So I was able to find something here with the fleet leasing company that really brought out a lot of different opportunities because of it being so big, whereas in a bank, there's not too many jobs that you can move into. But at this company, it was so large that there was like, for a while there, it was like every 2 years I was changing roles just because I think learning is so important and understanding the whole business and having that breadth of knowledge was really beneficial to me, even to this day in working with requests for proposals.
wow. So moved from banking to fleet leasing and fleet leasing to proposals. That's another shift in your career. Talk us through what happened there.
Yes, so I'm doing the proposals for the fleet leasing company. It was kind of funny how I fell into that. One of my old managers, I was talking to her one day and she said, yeah, we're having a hard time finding somebody to fill this role. Somebody had left the company and now we're trying to fill it. And, really, no one really knew what RFPs were. And if they did, they just didn't want anything to do with it. It wasn't a very glamorous job, I guess, to say in our company. So she's like, I just don't know what to do. And I really love this manager. She was always so great for me. I said, well, what do you think about me taking that position? And she goes, oh my God, I would love it. You'd really be willing to do that? I'm like, yeah, why not? Let's try something new. So that's how I got the position. Very kind of off the cuff. Just figured, why not try something new?
Totally. So it's beautiful what how you kind of evolved in your career. You started off doing a variety of roles within banking that took you into fleet leasing, and then fleet leasing you also took different roles and brought you into proposals. And today you are part of the proposal career. So in this past 10 years, Jenny, you might have worked on multiple proposals. Talk us through any interesting proposals that you work with, and good and bad, share some stories.
Yeah, my good is the largest client of ours that we have. I was managing and worked on that response for that request for proposal. And it was somebody that did not understand fleet leasing. They hadn't leased before. So it was a really non-traditional RFP than what we typically see. So it was getting a lot of people involved, making sure that items that we were saying could be done, and getting a lot of people within the business around this request for proposal. And it was wonderful that we won the business and they're still a client today. So that's really awesome. I would say one of the worst ones that I had was just um, not getting everybody to give me their information on time. Um, that was very, very stressful for me, that I wasn't getting my pricing in time. I mean, I was down to the very end of time because it was in one of those sites that you can watch it tick down. So it was very, very stressful. But what I learned out of that was pricing is one of the items that we were always waiting on at the very last end. So what I started doing is inviting the pricing people to our kickoff calls so that they knew that this was something that was in their pipeline to be done. Because a lot of times they didn't even know that there was something in for them to be working on because the salespeople didn't get them involved until very late in the process. So now I have moved them up in the process, and we definitely don't have as many of those tight schedules, heart thumping times to get something completed.
That's very interesting. As you rightly said, every bid gives you a learning, personal learning, and also how you manage team, how you manage yourself, and how you could improve your bid. I'm glad that with per bid, you're positioning yourself into much more a strong proposal professional there, Jenny. Thank you for sharing that. Jenny, at what point in your proposal career did you come across APMP as an industry body?
So I began my career in 2013, and in 2017 is when I joined APMP. I was really looking for a way to connect and figure out how to really run our proposals. Our proposal team was just me and somebody else. And the other person, I mean, she had been doing proposals for a while, but I mean, she was not like, that wasn't her main job either at one point. She was like working in sales and everything else. So I was really trying to find an avenue of what is the proper way to run a proposal? Is there something that we should be doing that I'm not doing? And one thing I was really interested in was a go, no go process. So all I did was Google and tried to find um, association that could help me with that. And I came across APMP when I was Googling. So it seemed like a really good fit for what I was looking for and what I needed to learn.
That's interesting. Joining the proposal body as a member is one, but joining the local chapter and also taking the board position, serving the community, volunteering is the second one. Talk us through your association with the Great Midwest chapter, your role, your past role, and the proposal fair that's coming along soon.
Yeah, so as I said, I became a member in APMP in 2017. And then I became the board chair in 2018. I just thought it would be a great way to immerse myself in APMP and get some learnings, and also help the chapter. And it has really been a wonderful experience. I really enjoy being part of the board and making it better every year. I'm very lucky to be in the Greater Midwest chapter. We have great people that are part of our chapter and great people who are part of the board, who are always looking for ways to outreach and help our members.
That's nice. That's nice. So when did you join the Great Midwest chapter, Jenny, as in the board?
Yes. In the Greater Midwest chapter, I I became a member in 2017
Right.
and then a board member in 2018.
Wow, immediately.
Yeah. I just thought it would, you know, I was trying to connect with people to understand, like I said, I was trying to find a go, no go process, understanding, because we never had that. We were just doing every proposal that came in. And I'm like, this does not seem like this is always a good use of our time. I understand sometimes you have to do a proposal, even though you're not going to win it, but you need to do it. But there were some that I'm like, why are we even doing this? We know it's not going to happen. But I needed to have information and stats and a process and an understanding before I could go to, um, other people to see if they're willing to do that. Um, since I was, fairly new to it, uh, to doing proposals. So I really wanted to have my ducks in a row and see what other people were doing. And also from that, in 2017, I wanted to meet and greet with some people in Minnesota to understand, like, what are you guys doing? I talked to the chapter in 2017. I asked, can I get a group of people together? They helped me with that. So, there was only like maybe 7 of us that got together that day, but it was still great to meet other people that are in Minnesota that are doing the same thing I'm doing and having some of the same struggles and some of the same successes. So it was great to be able to talk to some like-minded people, even though our proposal processes were very different, but still can learn off of those. So it was an awesome time to be able to get together a small little group to understand what other people are doing.
That's nice, Jenny. That's nice. And when being a membership chair, you are instrumental in building awareness, building members for your local chapter. In the next month or so, we are going to have the proposal fair. I think after a couple of years, moving from COVID era, which was also should have been an interesting period for you to engage with your members.
Yes.
Now we are moving into the face-to-face event. Talk us through
Yes.
about the proposal fair. Before that, talk us through how the chapter engaged with the members during the COVID times.
Yes. So how we engage with our members, we always have like a monthly webinar. So that was one way that we connected. And last year we actually had a virtual symposium that we did with another chapter. So we kind of came together, did a virtual symposium, and that was really awesome to have that as an option to get together with the other chapter, being able to still have that symposium feel, have that learning, could connect with the people that came to the virtual symposium. So that was really wonderful. Um, Even during the pandemic, depending on where we were located, like in 2021, we did have another kind of like meet and greet that was at a restaurant that was outside. So we were able to take part. We had a few people that came to that. But the symposium this year will be in Minnesota. And it's a great opportunity to get the Midwest chapter together. We have different speakers at the symposium. So it's kind of like a mini BidCon per se. So it's a great place to learn and to connect.
Totally, Jenny. I think looking forward to meeting you and rest of the GMC friends on the
Yeah.
11th and 12th. But wish you and your team all the success in organizing the event. I'm sure it will all be well. So thank you, Jenny. Thank you. So far, we have talked early life career, how we evolved from joining the banking to fleet services into proposals and APMP and GMC, etc. Before we enter what we call the random rapid fire question round, or in honor of Forward Nut, we call it the Nutters round. Talk us through 3 things not many people know about you.
Okay, the 3 things that not many people know about me is 1, I was in band. I played the flute. That was a fun time in my life. I love to bake. And the other thing is that I was on the board of our local chapter of Dollars for Scholars. That's a organization that we have that helps raise money for kids to get scholarships to use when they go to college. So that was a great opportunity to be on that board for a while.
That's very interesting. And what are your hobbies and interests, Jenny?
I like to read when I have time, gardening, walking, traveling, spending times with my friends and family.
Nice. So you're still part of the band? We still play every now and then?
No, gave that up a long time ago. I actually sold my flute to one of my daycare providers' children. They were going to take up the flute so that I would be nice and pass it on to someone who would use it.
That's nice. That's nice. But yeah, I mean, like every now and then I suggest to play. At least I'm sure you'll be playing yourself at home with your friends and family now.
Yeah, no.
That's good. Again, Minnesota, as I mentioned, I heard it's a beautiful place. Walking around sounds like a nice thing, and family, friends. Looks like you've always been in Minnesota. Is that right, Jenny? You always
Yes.
lived there. Wow, that's
Yes,
amazing.
I've always been Minnesota. I lived in a few different towns, but yes, pretty much in the same region within Minnesota.
Got it. I'm just coming there for a day trip, as you mentioned. Most probably I'll come by, talk to you and others, and then leave on the evening. But then don't have much time. Next time I'll plan it properly. So
I know. Sometimes if you have more time, you should explore Minnesota. We have a lot of great options depending on the lakes that you have.
totally, totally. Thank you, Jen. Let's officially enter the notice round. So, would you rather be able to play every single musical instrument or speak every single language fluently? What would you like to do, Jenny?
I think I would like to speak each language fluently. That would be amazing. Then it would make traveling even more special, being able to listen and be able to speak the language of the culture that I'm at.
Nice. Do you have a favorite place that you visit? What's your favorite place?
The favorite place that I have visited?
Mm-hmm.
I would say Hawaii.
Oh, nice.
Loved Hawaii. Beautiful.
What's the most you have ever spent on something you absolutely did not need at all?
I would say probably $100 on a purse.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm sure you would have used it, but
Yeah. Didn't really need it, but thought I did at the moment. Peer pressure with my shopping buddies.
Got it. Got it. So, if you are to be in a reality TV show, which one would you be on and why?
Wow. I don't really watch any reality TV shows.
Hmm.
But I guess the only one I used to watch was Vanderpump Rules.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I would do that because I love the location of being in California.
Right.
And enjoy seeing all those other people have the drama. I would want to be the one looking in and trying to solve their drama and not be part of it.
That's interesting. So, which Hollywood actress would get to play as you in the movie of your life?
Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, nice. Why?
I think that she's just, I think she's a great actress, and I love how warm and friendly she is. She just comes across as being such a warm person.
Nice. Definitely. Jennifer Aniston, if you by chance listen to this podcast,
Probably not.
yes, unfortunately, but you never know. You never
Right.
know. So you might receive a call.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
If you could either, given the option, you are not allowed to have tea or coffee, or not allowed to have any dessert for the rest of your life, which option would you pick?
Oh, easy, a dessert. I don't drink tea or coffee, so that would be easy. Give me the dessert. Chocolate would be the best.
That's interesting. So I'm talking to your parents and your parents, and what is something your parents will want me about you?
I think that they would tell you I'm very dedicated and
Mm,
will always help out when needed.
nice. That's a good one. What's the naughtiest thing that you have ever done, either in the school or in colleges or at work or family, friends, anything? Jenny?
Wow, I don't know. I really haven't done anything. My growing up in high school, my dad was on the school board, so I could not really do anything scandalous in high school. I guess just drinking underage. I think everybody kind of does that here as when you're going to college. That would probably be it.
Oh, that's nice. So that should have been tough. How was it growing up? Was it studying in school where your father was on the board?
I just had to be very good and, get good grades and be a model student. So, yeah, it was a little, when you're in high school and stuff, that's when you want to just kind of be free and have fun. But I mean, I still had that, but I just made sure I was doing my fun in an appropriate way.
Totally, totally. If Jurassic Park was real, would you visit it, Jenny?
Jurassic Park.
Uh-huh.
It's just always something new coming up. You just are always my family on my husband's side. There's just a lot of us, and so it's always kind of chaotic. And I kind of think of Jurassic Park being kind of chaotic with everything coming at you.
So you have a Jurassic Park within your family.
Yes.
So good. That's a good answer. Do you have any pets, Jenny?
Yes, I have a cat.
Okay. If you ask, what's the name of your cat?
My cat's name is Mia.
Mia? Oh, that's beautiful. So if you ask Mia for a reference about Jenny, what do you think Mia will tell me about Jenny?
She's a very caring person.
Nice. So would you rather have a cat, which you already having, or be a cat?
I would rather have a cat.
Oh, interesting. That's very interesting. So when is the last time you wrote a letter to someone?
Actually, I'm in the process of doing that right now.
Oh, wow. Is it something that you do frequently, Jenny?
No, it really is not. It's kind of a strange situation.
Hmm.
I don't know if you want me to go into details or not. I can.
No, it's up to you. If it's personal, don't worry. I think I'm glad that you are having this writing thing. And do you do that to yourself? Do you write that to your family, friends every now and then?
I don't like write a letter. I text a lot to family and friends. This person had just reached out to me by letter, so I decided to reciprocate by a letter.
That's nice. That's good. So what's the nickname that your friends have given you, and does it have a meaning?
I really don't have a nickname. I mean, my nickname is Jen. My real name is Jennifer. They just call me Jen. Nothing like, no silly names, no.
That's good. That's good. So what's the best compliment you have ever received and from whom?
Best compliment I received probably from from my manager, a past manager, just, saying that she wished he had more workers like because, I was dedicated, I get the job done. I'm always willing to, you know, try something different, or do something different, or take on a task I haven't done. I'm always love to learn and stuff. So it was nice that she was able to see that I'm so willing to do whatever it takes to get things done.
That's the end of the Matters Round. Hope you enjoyed it. So who are the people who have been the most influential in your life and career journey?
Okay, there's been really quite a few people. Growing up, my sister, she's quite a bit older than me, so she acted kind of like a mom to me. And she was just really wonderful to always helping me through life's journeys. And I would also say my husband. Um, he's always taught me how to be like more diplomatic and plant ideas into people, instead of and having it make them think that it was their idea versus my idea, just planting those seeds. I think that was really great. um, advice. And then I had three managers, Jane, Teresa, and Nancy. These three women were all so strong. They were always believed in me. They always pushed me to do things that were out of my comfort zone. They were always supporters and champions for me. Um, so in my work life, they were the best managers I've ever had, and um, really enjoyed working with them.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, what's one personal trait you like the most about yourself?
I would say that I am very dependable.
Mm,
If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I'm always going to be there. Like if a friend needs something, I'll be there for you.
mm, that's beautiful, John. Thank you for sharing. And I'm sure if anybody needs help, I'm sure reach out to Jenny and
Yes, and I will try to help any way I can. If I can't figure it out, I have a network.
thank you, Jenny. That's so beautiful. Jenny, who haven't you seen or talked to in a long time, and you hope that they're doing okay?
Um, I would say a friend from the very, very past that I used to work with. Um, she was in a different part of the business as I was, but we had to work a lot together. Um, her name was happened to be Nancy as well.
Mm,
Um, I She moved on to a different job, and I haven't seen her for many, many years, and I hope she's doing well.
that's beautiful. Jenny, how did you cope with yourself during the COVID times? Because I know from March 2019 or 2020, sorry, when officially everybody went to lockdown and all the way into 2022, this 2.5 years was a bit of a stretch for everybody. I know not everybody was okay all the time, but somehow we pulled out together. How did you help yourself and your family?
Yeah, I think connecting with people, even though we weren't necessarily seeing each other, but connecting with them, making sure people were okay. Um, I'd still try. I would go see my mom because I thought it was very important to see her. Being by herself, I just wanted to make sure she was okay. Really just checking in with people was what really helped. Even like people that I work with, even if I wasn't doing something with them currently on a project, I would just kind of like reach out and say, hey, just how are you doing today? How are things going? How are you feeling?
Mm,
And I did that with my friends and family too, just understanding, how's everything going? Just reaching out, I think really helped to for me not to feel so isolated and for them too, just knowing that people are thinking of them and, checking up on them.
that's amazing. Thank you, Jenny. I think that's it. That's the only way. You know what? Even after these 2 3 years, I think we have all gone really backwards or inwards. So I think it's important. It's going to take some time for us to get back to who we were. Maybe we will never get back to who we were.
Right. Yeah. And I think it was kind of interesting because all of my immediate family, my husband and my children, they all still worked throughout that whole time. So they were considered essential workers and they
Right.
were all going out to work every day. Mine was considered essential, but we were able to work from home. So that was no problem. So I would really, especially my husband, I'm like, would always ask him, so what's going on at work? What's happening? Just kind of living my life through him. And he's like, I've had an exhausting day talking to people. I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, okay. But I thought it was just kind of interesting that their lives still went on as
Mhm.
normal because they still had a job to do.
Totally, totally. Again, that's it. I mean, like, yeah, it's amazing how few people just have to keep things going along for us to keep safe, to keep the essential service working. And in the same time, behind the scenes, we all are pulling the strings as much as we can ourselves. Yes, it's all, yeah, it's, as we call it, the future of workplaces changed, or the current workplace has changed drastically. It'll be very interesting to see how our kids, when they grow up, what work means to them.
Yes, exactly. I know because now we are supposed to like in our office go back into the office and
Mm,
I think it's hard to get people to come back now that they've been there for so long. I do try to go in a couple of days a week into the office just to have that normalcy and to see people and make those connections.
100%, Jenny, 100%. So, Jenny, who is the most kindest person you know?
I actually really have two that are just phenomenal. My girlfriend Lisa, she is so awesome. She is the kindest person. If she sees somebody who is in need, she's always there to help. If there's someone standing on a street corner, she'll go buy them a lunch. Um, she's just so sweet and so kind. And then my she was my manager turned to friend, my Nancy. She is the same way. She's just so kind-hearted. She always sees the good in everyone. And sometimes that can be hard to do. So I wish I could be more like that of her, because it's a wonderful trait to have.
That's nice. And the second person?
That was Nancy. That was one I was just talking about.
Okay, got it. Lisa and Nancy. It looks like everybody knew the Lisa and the Nancy.
I have lots of Lisas and Nancys in my life, and it gets very confusing with my family. They have to listen to the context of what I'm talking, because I have many Lisas and Nancys in my life.
That's it. The main criteria to become Jenny. You need to have a name that says Lisa or an.
Yeah, exactly. It's very funny.
Coming back to the proposal career, which I know after 20 odd years, you just entered proposal career. I know you have been part of your company, you have been part of APMP chapters, you've also been a very, very good friend to many people. What's that one common myth about this profession that you would like to debunk, Jenny?
I would say that, just trying to think of one.
Anything that people told about you, hey, Jenny, this is what you do, right? And then you were like, no, not really.
Yeah, actually, the common myth is nobody knows what proposals are. They're always like, what do you do? I don't understand what it is. So always having to kind of explain what a proposal is and what I do. I mean, no one seems to kind of understand that concept. And I get it if you're not in that world and don't understand, you don't need an RFP or a tender, you wouldn't understand what it is. So I would say just people not knowing, like, what is it is kind of the, why are you doing this?
Yes,
Like, well, we're helping our company get more business. That's what we're doing.
Correct. I think the word proposals could swing in different ways. I think even 2 weeks ago when I was in the gym and I said I work on proposals, they said, "Oh, do you run a dating agency?" And I'm like,
oh, that is very funny. Oh my goodness. Yes, that
was
I
like,
can see where they come with that.
I was like, I wish, I mean, like, yes, it's amazing. I mean, like, proposals could be any proposals. What ideas do you have in proposing to somebody?
Yes, exactly. That is quite funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seriously thinking to changing my career journey.
Yeah, and maybe that's why they call it Tinder. Tenders now. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Even bids in a certain case, I remember in my old days when they say, "Oh, I do bidding," which is like, "Oh yeah, I've done bidding in eBay and I won bicycles and I bid." It's tough. It's tough to get into people, but you know what? It's okay. Let the common myth continue. Let us be the secret society.
Exactly. That's what we will be, the secret society, of course.
So now, having known this is the common myth, what advice will you give fellow bid and proposal professionals?
There's a few things I would tell them. One, communication is really important, and setting those deadlines and having everybody understand what their purpose in the RFP is. I think that is, you need to set that up front and set up what everybody needs to do, the time it needs to be done, and if they have questions, what are they supposed to do? Who are they supposed to come back to and ask? Setting up those things up front is so important to getting things done in a timely manner when you need to have them done. And also, I think, understanding the upstream and downstream effects of what you're saying in that proposal to understand what is going on, I think that is very helpful too, at least in the types of proposals that I do. I mean, when we're working on proposals at my company, I'm the one who's getting the responses, putting the responses in, going out to, if we don't have the response, we don't have the traditional teams like the certification has. I'm kind of the team. So understanding all of those makes a lot of sense for me. And building those relationships are really important with your key SMEs and the other staff that you're working with.
That's a beautiful advice, Jenny, 100%. And they don't be bogged down just by what questions, what forms, what graphics, what things, proposals are written by people, for people, so
Yeah.
spend as much time in knowing people around you, both within the company and outside the company. And that's a beautiful advice. Definitely, I strongly recommend listeners to take that advice very seriously. And it's super important for you to grow in your career as well. Otherwise, people won't know what you're doing, and they will far just be, your perception of who you are. It's not going to change unless you tell them what you do, why you do.
Right.
Thank you, Jenny. That's amazing. If we are to have this conversation about your life and career in 3 years' time, Jenny, and if we are looking back, say 2025, August, what do you think should have happened? The three things that you considered, what these three things were amazing for me, provided I do these three things.
Yeah, I think the three things would be really learning more. I think learning is a key in taking on new tasks and new responsibilities. So I would want to be speaking about a new task or new responsibility I have in my job because of my learnings. I think that that's really important. I think another one would be just being more of a mentor to others within either the business or in APMP. I was a mentor last year, and I just think that that is a really great experience on both sides if you find the right connection. So hopefully I'd be in a place where I am helping with mentoring somebody and helping them through their key learnings and their ways. And third, I would say would be more of a personal thing and just taking some more time for myself and being able to, do some of those things that I would like to do. Just taking more time by myself, being able to get to more books to read or traveling, doing something of that sort.
That's definitely, Jenny. I think you should do that. I think I'm working on my big five in life, which actually pretty much has shaken me to the core. Like, what do I need to do? How do I spend time every day? Who do I spend time with? How do I want to continue for the next 20, 30 years, if at all I'm alive?
Yes.
It's definitely something that every listener should take some time. And I'm glad that you're already thinking in those lines, Jenny. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Jenny. So, Jenny, is there any part of your life or career, or is there anything else that we have missed in this conversation that you would like to share to the listeners?
Yeah, there's just a couple other things. I think it's really important too that people be confident in their skills and, nobody's perfect, but be confident. I think a lot of times people can be, and come across not as confident, and then your proposal doesn't go well. So be confident in what you're doing and what you're asking people to do. I think that's really important as well. And managing your time is also, whether it's your personal time or your work time, just managing the times for the things you want to get done or need to get done.
That's a great final note, Jenny. Thank you. Jenny, thank you so much for joining Scribble Talk. 6 a.m. This is the record for us. Normally we have done recording 7 a.m., but 6 a.m. is absolutely. Thank you so much for joining, sharing, caring. Wish you, your family, all the good health, and your colleagues and your APMP Midwest friends, all the good health and happiness. Continue to inspire us. Stay healthy, stay happy, and look after yourself.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was great to speak with you this morning. Great way to start off my day.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you.
To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Please visit batchyscribble.com/podcast to listen to this episode and check out any of our other previously recorded episodes. If you've enjoyed today's interview, don't forget to subscribe, review, and share the Scribble Talk podcast. We hope you'll check out our next episode where we interview another industry expert and special guest. Until then, it's Ashley Kays,
Bhaskar Sundaram,
signing off.